Hello, everyone. My name is Janelle Harris, and this is the start of my senior exit project video. My topic is conspiracy theories. I chose to do conspiracy theories because they're very interesting to me. They're cool to think about, and I thought it was kind of unique. It's just something that I'm pretty interested in. Okay, so pretty much the reason why I chose to do conspiracy theories is, at first glance, conspiracy theories don't necessarily contribute anything to society, compared to climate change, or how climate change would affect society, and topics that show physical effects to our world. That would often tend to come back and jeopardize us if we weren't to change anything, such as climate change. If we don't do anything, nothing's going to happen, the world's going to get worse. However, these theories form questions about society, along with politics and ethics and just people's opinions and what they think and what they choose to think. So that was pretty much the whole reason why I chose conspiracy theories. Because the purpose isn't really to better anything, better the world or better the environment. It's kind of to just bring light to society that there's different things out there. That's why people think certain things, and people are forced to their own opinion, which everybody should be allowed to voice their own opinion. So yeah. So one of the people that I interviewed was my older brother. He is, super into conspiracy theories as well. He's just pretty much knowledgeable on honestly everything. He listens to a lot of podcasts and reads a lot, and he's just knowledgeable. So I decided to interview him. Throughout this video, I'm just going to be inserting different responses to different questions that I asked him. So to go more into depth, conspiracies allow our society to remain critical of certain people in power. That's one way how we can show how conspiracy theories can contribute to people's own opinions. For example, this meaning, so a certain way how these theories can affect certain people in power. It pretty much forces certain institutions to be more transparent with the world, and by doing this, nobody's going to be in the dark, and everyone will pretty much all be on the same page and understand what is going on in certain situations. Concerning conspiracy theories, a lot of people just jump straight to denial on any conspiracy theory just because they believe it has no relevance or actuality to society, and this is where a lot of people are wrong. Just one example, you could take the Watergate scandal into mind. We all pretty much know what the Watergate scandal is. It involved President Nixon keeping a huge secret from the country, and then the country found out, and then he was forced to resign from presidency due to his lack of transparency with to the rest of the country. So this secret event was done behind the nation's back, and it stayed unknown for a super long time. Some theories at the time actually helped uncover real conspiracies that showed America what President Nixon was really doing behind our backs. Conspiracy theories are ones that are commonly overlooked by those who may not be familiar with them, or what their purpose is, or how they better society, but they pretty much show a lot of value and importance on a federal and global community level. This kind of brings in the idea of what is reality. This also brings in, the idea of terror attacks and how they always provide a rich opportunity for a new beginning or continuing to add on to previously existing conspiracy theories. So we know that there's a lot of conspiracy theories with 9/11, and if President Bush was really behind it, or if it was actually just a terrorist attack, or if the terrorist attack was planned. There's many examples going into that.
There is like, some top secret stuff going on there, and I think that for whatever reason, like the government chooses to like keep that information private, but it's kind of the same thing as like information they have on terrorists. Like that's kind of their prerogative, and whether or not you believe that that information should be public is kind of beside the point. I think it's more of like people think of it as like malicious. I don't think it's necessarily like that. It's just, I don't know, so many people just believe it's all like made up anyways, and that like, people like these conspiracy theorists are all like wear tinfoil hats and they're all crazy or whatever, but there's a lot of like facts that those people aren't taking into consideration that, don't explain their point of view either. But kind of like with all of the conspiracy theories, you really got to meet in the middle. Like the official story, I think, is a little bit too conservative, and like the more freedom of information we have with like the internet and people like really taking their own time, or like even, as part of their jobs, like investigating is, really important.
I'd say conspiracy theories show significance to an audience, basically because you can't really trust anyone, or can you? That's the real question. That's a lot of conspiracy theorists, especially those who are very committed to their work, pretty much will always find conclusions everywhere or anywhere, just to kind of get people's minds boggled, or like just thinking about certain things, whether they actually might be true or not. Many believe that the term conspiracy theory is a part of itself a conspiracy. This closure based on, how conspiracy theories are a conspiracy within themselves, it can be made prevalent because a defining characteristic of conspiracy theories is that they can't be proved. That's kind of like the gimmick, is no theory can necessarily be proved unless there's proof, but they're all just theories in hindsight. But however, they can change in response to any challenge or accusation. So pretty much explaining more why I chose this topic. Conspiracies can allow society to remain critical of certain people in power. When people look at conspiracy theories, many don't actually understand them fully. This can lead to wrong conclusions, where people just assume one thing or another. That's where you hear a lot of, if you've ever heard of the flat earth theory, pretty much it's just that our earth is flat based on, different accusations. One accusation being that in the Bible, there was writing that God made the earth and it spread it out to its four corners, kind of meaning that the earth is flat. Also, you may hear, different people going to Antarctica and like not being able to pass by a certain border. It's like in Antarctica, it's all patrolled by a government. If you were to go out like a certain distance past the government boundaries, you would need to be accompanied by a government official. You're not allowed to fly over certain parts of Antarctica, so it kind of just like brings in the theory that why is the government trying to keep us away from Antarctica? Like, what's in Antarctica? Nobody knows. Nobody's been past that. Like, we don't know even if the government's been past that. So that kind of like ties in with that flat earth theory as well. I personally just enjoy thinking about the what ifs and like what is really considered reality. I just think that's kind of cool to think about. There are no great purposes that serve towards this topic other than pure interest, entertainment, possible confusion. I think that's why I enjoy it, because it makes me a little bit confused, but that's kind of like intriguing and entertaining at the same time. So some topics related to conspiracy theories are ones for certain people who can think of answers from all sides of the spectrum, meaning they can gather whatever accusation they want and like turn whatever they want into whatever they want. This is pretty much saying that open-minded people will get more of a gain or like kick, so to say, out of these discussions compared to someone who isn't up for a discussion about certain theories. So some other examples of some conspiracy theories that you may have heard of. I think the most popular one that I've seen around my specific age group, a lot of people are talking about the Mandela effect. So pretty much the Mandela effect is false memory. So it's pretty much like a phenomenon. The idea was proposed by this guy named Nelson Mandela. Pretty much this false memory is just a phenomenon where someone recalls something that didn't actually happen, or, recall it differently from how they remembered it. So like a prime example of this, and I've experienced this as myself, is, the Berenstain Bears. That was a book that I, read as a kid growing up. We have the book in my house still. Berenstain, we all remember it being Berenstain. But then when you look at these new books, if you were to Google it now, Berenstain, like the word itself, Berenstain, is spelled a different way than how I personally remember it and how a lot of people remember it in the past. I specifically remember Berenstain being spelled at the end, Bearstein. But now, when you go to look back at it, I vividly remember EIN, but now just magically got changed to AIN. And everywhere you can see is AIN. If you do more research, a lot of people agree on the same thing. Another crazy example is Kit Kat. The brand. You see the logo name. I personally, and most people that I've talked to about this, a lot of people remember Kit Kat with having the hyphen. Kit Kat, Kit-cat. And now, if you go to look at a Kit Kat bar, there's no hyphen. There's always been a hyphen. I've never not seen a hyphen on a Kit Kat bar. So pretty much the reason how the Mandela effect started was with Nelson Mandela's death. So pretty much after this guy died, people started remembering things differently and getting this false memory. People also think or theorize that the reason why we're getting these false memories is because we are, flipped in parallel universes, and there's different dimensions, and, things just got, mixed up and flipped. So here are just some, not necessarily random, just a few examples of Mandela effect. And as I read them off and describe them, I just want you guys to think to yourself if, you've ever seen or, experienced this, or, thought it was different and now it's this way now, or it was different before and now it's this way now. So, to begin, we have the Monopoly Man. Everybody remembers the Monopoly Man with a monocle. At least I do. But no, if you go and look at any Monopoly, there's no monocle. If you think Pikachu, I never really watched Pokemon, but from what I've seen, he always had a black little zigzag thing at the end of his tail. But no, if you go look now, there's no zigzag, no black. Most of us remember Febreze. We all know Febreze. Most of us remember it as Febreze with 2 E's, but now it's Febreze with 1 E. I'll give you one more example. Curious George. We love him. All grew up watching him. Curious George had a tail. But if you look back at the video, Curious George never had a tail. But what monkeys don't have tails? So, kind of just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But those are just some examples of, Mandela effects in today's society. Right, so the next thing that I'm going to cover is how COVID-19 has affected my senior exit project. COVID-19 has had a big impact on our entire world, our entire society, nation, country, etc. But one way how it's affected conspiracy theories in general, there's been a lot more conspiracy theories. You've probably heard a great amount of conspiracies just about COVID-19, just about the virus in general. Just some examples, some theories that I've heard are how, our climate change is a big issue in our world and environment, and ever since COVID started, the pollution has gone down in the world a great amount, and that's due to just everybody being inside, not being out as much, not being overcrowded, having factories not running. So the environmental aspect of this is being affected. I've also heard, crazy theories like China sent the virus here on purpose for whatever reason. Same with other countries, how it spread and all that. But overall, COVID has, impacted my topic just through, it's kind of given it more publicity, so to say. meaning a lot of people are probably thinking all different kinds of things without like actual evidence behind it, and you don't really know what to trust, which is kind of like the confusion with conspiracies in general, is like you really don't know what to believe, and like you're subject to your own personal opinion, so like whatever you believe is whatever you believe, and nobody else but yourself can really like convince you otherwise or like lean you like a certain way. It's like all down to you and nobody else. And that's kind of like what ties in with like what is reality. That's something that I think about a lot. It's just like cool to think about. Like we really don't know everything, or do we? You know? So it's kind of plays tricks on your mind and allows you to honestly think more logically and rationally about certain decisions that you may make in your life. So thank you for watching my senior exit project. Thank you.